Welcome to Heart Stories, a podcast proudly brought to you by the Caulfield Grammarians Association. I'm your host, Doreen Brown, and this season we celebrate the journeys, passions, and values of remarkable individuals, many of whom share a connection to the Caulfield community. This series is a platform for heartfelt conversations that shine a light on creativity, leadership, and a sense of community that define extraordinary lives. At Heart Stories, we believe every achievement begins with a story. Together, we'll uncover the challenges, milestones, and lessons that have shaped our guests. Through their insights, we'll explore how shared values and a commitment to making a difference inspire both individuals and communities to thrive. So thank you for joining us. Settle in, open your mind, and get ready to discover stories that inspire, empower, and unite. This is Heart Stories. Let's begin. On this episode of Heart Stories, we're thrilled to welcome Dana, a trailblazing young innovator and a proud Caulfield Grammar alumni. In her final year at Monash University, Dana is pursuing an honours degree in software engineering alongside a commerce degree. Her dedication to excellence and innovation has earned her recognition as one of Vogue Australia's top 5 future innovators in 2024, a testament to her remarkable contributions to the tech industry. Dana is the founder of Specular, a groundbreaking virtual try-on software that uses cutting-edge AI image generation to transform the global shopping experience. Balancing entrepreneurship with hands-on industry experience, she is an associate software engineer at Coles Group, where she contributes to technical advancements. A high achiever academically, Dana participated in an exchange program at the University of Leeds and graduated from Caulfield Grammar School in 2019 with an impressive ATAR of 98.3. So again, welcome to the podcast and Heart Stories, Dana.
Thank you. It made me sound so good.
You are so good. You are so good. Now, to begin, are you able to share some of your favourite memories from your time at Caulfield Grammar School?
Yeah, for sure. It's funny though, because if you asked me that when I was in high school, my answers would probably be different.
Yes.
Looking back, I would say my favorite times from school really are the moments you don't get post high school. So, like those
Yeah.
musical involvements that I did in those first few years of high school, like I think I did 3 of them in 7, 8, 9. When
Yep.
am I going to end up on stage again in a musical, like dancing backstage?
Yep.
That's such a key memory for me, as well as, just even Saturday sport, getting around playing in the team. I really miss team sport, but my schedule just doesn't really allow for it anymore. So just things like that, you kind of take it for advantage when you're in high school, but looking back, it's like, I kind of wish I could still do that. I wish I had the opportunity to just hop on stage in the back of Hairspray and do a little dance.
Yes, I hear you. Yeah. And what kind of sports were you involved with during those years?
So I did a couple. I did netball. That was my winter sport.
Yep.
Every year. And then summer it kind of changed a little bit. So I think the first time I did diving for a year or two. I did rowing. Everyone did rowing, but because I'm short, I was the cox. And then after that, I did touch rugby. So that was my main sport, I guess, in those final years. And I was lucky enough to captain the first team of that one, which was fun. But yeah, and then obviously athletics before I did the spring season, I think it was.
Excellent. So very well rounded in the sports area.
Everything.
Bit of everything. And you mentioned a few plays and a few dances as well. Were there specific productions that you were part of at Caulfield Grammar?
I can't remember the names of all of them. I know we did Hairspray, and I think we did Legally Blonde as well.
Yep.
I think that was the third one, but I can't remember for the life of me what it was called. But yeah, I think in 7, 8, and 9, I did some of the musicals where you could like just dance. And I did Upstage as well, which was the yearly dance production that Caulfield did for those few years as well.
Yeah.
Good fun.
Amazing fun, amazing memories. Now, how did your time at Caulfield Grammar School instill the values of hard work and making the most of opportunities? And how do you think these have shaped your career path?
So I think what Caulfield really showed me, especially in that year 12, year 11 and year 12, actually probably year 10, because I did some VCE subjects in year 10 as well. High school period really showed me that hard work does pay off. I think that's the big thing for me that I learned. I worked quite hard in year 12 to get the ATAR that I did.
Yeah.
And, naturally I'm quite smart, but I wouldn't say I'm the smartest person at school. And I think for me to get the result I did, it was really that I was quite driven, quite dedicated, and hard work really does pay off. And I think that then translates to after high school and every part of life beyond that, especially the startup world where it's a lot of really hard work, but you start to see those rewards come in for that hard work, and the output and the end result start to come together, which is really rewarding. Yeah. Oh, career path. Well, I think just the degree that I do is actually, you know what it would be? I quite enjoy hard work. That's really how it's shaped my career path. And I like to be learning. I like to be challenged. And when I'm in a job where I'm not getting that anymore, I kind of start to look elsewhere, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
And I think that's really a big part of my career pathway and where I'm going is that I really like to kind of just throw myself in the deep end and have that challenge and learn from it, which is kind of that reward that you get from hard work, which I learned from school. Because that satisfaction when you work so hard and then you get that result or you get that recognition or you just build something that you like, wow, I did this. I think that's
Yes.
a really rewarding feeling.
Love that. Now, were there specific moments or experiences at Caulfield that helped you recognize your analytical and logical strengths, which later guided you towards software engineering?
I just think in high school I was quite good at the maths and sciencey subjects. That was
Yeah.
kind of where I naturally led to and really developed those foundational skills of analytics and logical thinking, which obviously directly applies to software engineering and that degree.
Yeah.
There's a lot more creativity in software engineering that I hadn't really acknowledged before I started working in it and hadn't realized as well as like the startup world. That's obviously very creative as well.
Yeah.
So it would be those maths and science subjects really help me identify that as a skill set and then take that into university. I think when I first left high school, I was always going to do like com law. That was like the thing that I wanted to do. I
Yeah.
actually got in, but when I thought about it for a little bit, I think it was January, the year after school finished, and I was like, why am I doing law? Like, I didn't really like writing essays that much. That wasn't something I enjoyed. That's not any strengths of mine. And then I was always going to do a double degree, but then I randomly just chose engineering. And in the first year of engineering, you get to try all different engineering. So you do civil, you do some chemical, you do some electrical, and you do some software. And then I just had this one software subject and I found it quite satisfying and I enjoyed it. And then I kind of randomly chose software engineering. And
Yeah.
then here I am. So it's been a bit random, but yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. But you've got to try it out, right? See what's resonating, what's aligned with you. And as you said, being a high achiever and always looking to learn and grow means that you're going to have potentially more transition into different areas as you develop and go
Sort
through
of
your career.
throw yourself in the deep end a little bit and give it a go.
Yeah, and see what works and what you enjoy and love, which is super important. Now, Caulfield is known for encouraging creativity and resilience. You've touched on that creativity component a little bit. How have those values played a role in shaping your career and entrepreneurial spirit? Because obviously, working for a company but launching your own business, very, very different things. Can you share a little bit more about that creativity and resilience?
Yeah, so creativity and resilience, obviously, they're quite different, but they're both really key parts of going down that pathway. Creativity, I think from Caulfield, just tying it back to school, is, you kind of get that through the holistic education that Caulfield provides in so many different aspects. And when carrying that through, that creative outlook, I think, is kind of how you come up with an idea or identify a problem that needs solving and then approach it in a way that no one's done before.
Yeah.
Kind of where the creativity ties in. So it's not necessarily like, I'm not very good at painting. Like that's not really where the creativity comes in, but it's more about how I approach problems and problem solve. So it's more of the thinking process needs to be creative.
Yeah.
And then in terms of resilience, I think high school's hard for anyone. Caulfield's a really, really good school, but no matter who you are, no matter what school you go to, there's always challenges, there's drama, things like that.
Yeah.
And I think that you end up having to develop a really foundational resilience to when you're just going through high school.
Yeah.
So crucial for every other part of your life. Entering the workforce, not getting a job that you want, or, doing assessments in uni and not getting the grades that you want and dealing with that. But then especially when you go into a startup, you have to deal with crazy amounts of rejection and kind of not let it knock you off your path and not let you've got drive, you've got ambition, you've got things that you want to achieve. And if you're getting rejected left, right, and center, you kind of just need to funnel through that and like shoot through that and really just be focused on that but also take lessons, be resilient enough to look at those failures and look at those rejections and be like, okay, this isn't personal. What can I take from that? What can I learn? And then how can I apply it to make things better?
Yes. And that's a process, isn't it, within itself? Because sometimes we tend to look at, as you said, that redirection as a negative thing, whereas learning the lesson from it and moving forward from that is sometimes a bigger reward. We just don't
Yeah.
realize it at the time.
They always say in startups that you don't want to fail hard and fast.
Yeah.
You want to fail hard, take the lessons, pivot if you need to, the
Yes.
feedback, learn, and then iterate quickly. But if you don't have those values, you don't learn anything.
You just don't. Yeah, you learn more from what goes wrong than what goes right, is what I always say. Now, your recognition as one of Vogue Australia's top 5 future innovators in 2024 is an incredible achievement. What does this acknowledgement mean to you, and how did it influence your vision moving forward?
So I think the Vogue acknowledgement for me was big, not in the sense that I need acknowledgement, but more because that was the first time where someone external believed in my idea. I told all my, getting all my friends and family and people that I know, and everyone was like, wow, this is a great idea. But it's kind of a biased input. So,
Yes.
so that was the first time where it was an external body that kind of believed in my idea. So that was pretty big for me. I just was like, wow, okay, maybe I'm actually onto something, and that wind in my sails that kind of got me going, and I was like, okay, there's something here that I'm really believing in. That was actually a funny process though when I got the Vogue thing, because we were told on the Monday that we were going to find out, and I didn't hear anything. So that day I was so upset. I was like, oh, I didn't get it. I
Oh.
was really bummed. And then the next day at the end of the day, I got the email saying I got it, and I remember running upstairs being like, Mom. So that
Oh,
was really exciting.
yeah.
But yeah, so it was that kind of external acknowledgement. Just for that first time, I was like, okay, I've got an idea here. Other people believe in it. And then it also helped me when I started reaching out to retailers, being like, okay, here's a Vogue article. And it had that kind of external validation. I'm not just some annoying person reaching out to them. I'm like, look, I was in Vogue. Like, get them to respond to me.
Yeah.
Really
Gives you that street cred, doesn't it?
yeah, street cred's the right word. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. In
Yeah.
terms of vision, though, I would say that kind of the acknowledgement didn't really change my vision
Mhm.
in the sense of kind of where I want to go. I've always had that view of where I wanted to go, and the vision of making a big company that is in the fashion tech space and comes up with innovative ideas. And that's something that was the vision from the start.
Yeah.
But it definitely helped me get that wind in my sails. We're going public now. People know about this. Use this momentum to grow as quickly and as fast as we can.
Wonderful. Now, what excites you most about the tech industry right now, especially as someone at the forefront of innovation?
So the tech industry, it's such an interesting time
Yeah.
to be in the tech industry, and me kind of joining it, like, because I've been in it kind of it for a couple of years now, but I'm still a baby in the tech industry. And it's a very disrupted industry at the moment due to AI. And
Yes.
the next 5 to 10 years, no one really knows what it's going
No
to
one knows.
yeah, it's like everyone has ideas and I've got ideas and,
Yeah.
but no one really knows what it's going to look like. So it's really interesting. I
Yeah.
think there's two really exciting things about it though. One is the accessibility to it. So I think now more than ever,
Mhm.
we are seeing anyone can kind of join the tech industry with not you don't have to really go through the whole degree to whip up something and
Yep.
whip up a website, whip up an application. I think AI makes it really, really accessible, which
Yes.
means we're going to see a lot of ideas being generated a lot faster. That kind of startup process where you have an idea, test it, and then iterate on it, that process is going to accelerate a lot and it's going to happen a lot faster. So
Yes.
I think innovation is really interesting at the moment. So that's like the main thing, that accessibility to it, but also is the acknowledgement of it. I think is also now more like it's getting acknowledged in every industry now more than ever. Every industry realizes that you need tech.
Yeah.
So going into the tech industry, it's not about, okay, what industry do I want to work on? It's more about, okay, this is the job that I want to do. Now I can pick the industry that I want to work on, and which really excites me about fashion technology, because that is kind of where I'm wanting to go. But that is such a new thing, and that didn't really exist like 5, 10 years ago. So yeah, as a person in tech, you have that ability to kind of choose what industry you want to go into. And I think
Yes.
that's a really cool thing to be able to do.
Amazing. Now, Specular is an amazing concept. Where did this idea come from, and what problem were you trying to solve with virtual try on technology?
Yeah, so the idea came from just my own shopping addiction, if I'm being honest. I like to shop online because shopping centers I find a bit exhausting. I walk around, I'm like, I don't want to try this on. Like, it's just too much effort. So I'm a big online shopper, but because I'm short and, my coloring is a bit different to other people, I found it really hard to shop online and kind of envision what people look like on me,
Yes.
like on me. So that's where the idea came from.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, so it was like a pain point for myself. And then obviously I had to think about turning that into a business idea. So I started researching, okay, what is the pain point for retailers that I'm solving? Because my business is B2B. So I have to be
Yeah.
solving a financial problem for retailers.
Yes.
And I realized that the biggest one that virtual try-on was targeting is to reduce returns. Returns are a huge cost for retailers globally. It's like 30% for some companies. And that's not just a cost on manufacturing, but it's also a cost in terms of the man hours needed to process those returns.
Yeah.
And then obviously the environmental factor of wastage and shipping and things like that.
Yeah.
So that was the main problem space. But it's kind of extrapolated past that. I think a lot of retailers at the moment that I've spoken to, the pain point for them, especially with the retail economy at the moment, is that they're actually just trying to sell more. So conversion is kind of their main pain point that they're trying to target. And we're trying to embed that within our app as well, because it's still at initial stage and I've got it on a friend's website now. So we're kind of starting to build that case study, but we're seeing that it should increase conversion. Then we're also going to implement functions like upsells. You try something on, it's like, oh, this would look cute with that, and things like that. So it's not just the reduced returns we're targeting. That's our main problem space. But then, there's the benefits of increased conversion, as well as just having a differentiated online marketplace. So that customer differentiation, retail market is so saturated. So if you have that kind of difference in your selling platform, that's an asset to retailers as well.
Are there specific lessons from your time at Caulfield that have shaped your approach to leading a project like Specular?
I would say actually the cool thing about Caulfield is one, you do get leadership opportunities. So like I was captain of that touch football team, the first touch football team. And then after high school, I actually came and coached at Caulfield for a bit. So there were leadership opportunities there. But I think the biggest thing about Caulfield is the exposure to other really good leaders.
Yes.
Whether you're in school, whether it's teachers, whether it's people part of the Grammarians Association, I think there's a lot of really good leaders around you that you get to just learn from. Even just like Mr. Martin, for example, like watching how he leads, I think is something that's really interesting. And I think some of the biggest, there's two things that I would say. One, obviously you want to lead with compassion. And I think that translates to actually interacting with people. I think you want to be a physical leader, someone who's there, someone who's present, someone that people know. I think you also want to be a bit inspirational in terms of how you lead. So I think inspiration, if you're a bit inspirational, then you kind of attract that similar talent. And, you're the sum of your team. Like no one can lead a big company by themselves. You have to be surrounded by really smart, driven, innovative, but also kind people.
Yes.
I also think the other big thing about a leader is being visible in the work you do and how you lead. I think the worst thing that you can have is a leader who kind of you've no idea what work they do or what they do.
Yeah.
And then you kind of feel like, oh, I'm working so hard. What's this person doing? And you kind of just feel like they're delegating everything and not actually doing anything.
Yes.
So I think as a leader, it's important to be transparent in, okay, this is my responsibilities and kind of share that and share the workload and be a team member within the team rather than just someone at the top who kind of oversees everything.
Love that insight. Now, how have your background and education prepared you to face the challenges of being both a student and an entrepreneur?
Ooh, I think for me, it would actually just be the hard working, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be completely honest. I don't have very much time. I work quite hard. There's a lot of tired nights. There's sacrifices socially. I only see my boyfriend like 2 nights a week because I actually don't really have time to see him more than that. And then there's like friends I'm really lucky. I'm surrounded by a beautiful group of girls and I've got a lot of really strong friendships, but I don't see them as much as I would like to.
Yeah.
And I think it's just knowing that and working through it and just working hard because that hard work does pay off. And
Yep.
but also being surrounded by people that kind of are aware that that's what you do and that's what you want to do and not taking it to heart if I have to cancel plans and things like that. But
Yeah.
yes, I think from school it would be, and my background, it would be that hard work is a big one because my family has always been like hard work. My brother has always worked really hard and things like that. So that would be the biggest lesson I would say from my background in education is just that hard work, work through it.
And did you have family members that attended Caulfield Grammar as well? You mentioned your brother.
Yeah, my brother went to Caulfield.
Yes.
He was a bit of an overachiever. Mm. Yeah, he's a very smart boy and he's a doctor now and things like that. So he's older. It's actually funny though, because he kind of was my role model in school for I attribute a lot of my academic success in high school to him. He
Yes.
got a really high A star and I was like, oh, if he can do it, I can do it.
Yep.
He like the format of subjects that he did, he did two subjects in year 10. So I kind of like saw that and saw how that worked. So I decided to do that as well and made sure I got the grades to do that. I've
Yeah.
kind of always had a bit of a plan and I was a bit strategic in how I approached high school, but I guess that was because I had a brother who went through it first and I kind of saw that worked.
I love that. Now, for current Caulfield students and alumni, especially young women interested in tech or entrepreneurship, what advice would you share about following their passions in such a competitive field?
So I will address young and women separately because I
Yeah.
think young people, we are at and I like realized this like a year or two ago. I was like, we are at such a unique age where we kind of have nothing to lose, especially if you're still living at home and things like that. You have very little responsibilities. You can spend a year trying to build this and lose all your money, but then get a full-time job the year after, and you really are at no different starting point. Like the risk is there, you don't really have much to lose, so there isn't really much risk. So why would you not just give it a go? Is kind of where the conclusion that I came to. And then for women, I think my thing with women is I think even though we have less opportunities and things like that, I think there's definitely at this time an advantage to being a woman in the workforce where you get noticed a little bit more because it's a little bit like, what you doing here?
Yeah.
It's you get noticed more, you can kind of get your foot in the door a little bit more. And I think even if you get hired because you're trying to be they're trying to get the woman quota up, you still got your foot in the door. Use that to
Yeah.
your advantage and then prove why you belong there. We have the same amount of skills, if not more, than a lot of our male counterparts. I think sometimes a little bit differently. And I think that can be such an advantage. So it's really important to kind of get in the door when as much like whatever way you can.
Yeah.
Then once you're in the room, it doesn't really matter.
How do you envision balancing entrepreneurship and your career moving forwards?
So I finished my degree at the end of this year. So I'm doing that. I'm doing a unit in Portugal in July, and then I've got 2 more units that I need to do until the end of
Yeah.
the year, and then I'm done. Continuing my part-time work at Coles, 3 days a week as a software engineer, because I'm still learning so much there. And then also working on Specular. I think for Specular, the goal is to get on a couple more retailers' websites. But
Yes.
because I have so many other demanding things this year, I can't be on too many just because I need to be able to manage customer service, traffic, and things like that. And I don't want to grow too big too fast and then not be able to deliver on those things. That's kind of this year. Next year, it really kind of depends on what happens with Specular this year. So I would love to grow it a bit more, maybe get into an accelerated program and give it a go for time and things like
Yeah.
that. But yeah, still kind of just seeing. I have goals for Specular for the end of this year and next year, but other than that, I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, great. Leave it open to opportunity, right? Interesting.
Yeah.
Now, as we wrap up, is there anything else you'd like to share with the Caulfield community and our listeners?
I would say we're all pretty lucky to be a part of the Caulfield Grammarian community. I think there's a lot of privilege that comes with that. Well, the one that we need to be aware of, but two, also you can kind of use it, take advantage of it a little bit. It's like you got access to this huge network.
Yeah.
People are happy to help more than we think.
Yes.
I think if there's someone that's part of the grammarian community that like you want to reach out to, or work through a job that you want to go for or things like that, just reach out to them and be like, hey,
Yeah.
people are happy to chat. People are always happy to lend you their time and surprisingly more than you think. So I'd say, yeah, leverage that community as much as you can. Also, if you want to check out Specular, it's on Hustle Collective website.
Amazing. And we'll, yeah, can pop some of the details and information about that with this episode as well. Dana, thank you so, so much for joining us today. As you said, I know you're super busy, so I appreciate your time and just wish you all the very best and success with all of your endeavors.
Thank you so much. It's been fun.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Heart Stories. A heartfelt thank you to our guests for sharing their story, wisdom, and passion with us today. Their insights remind us of what makes creativity, leadership, and community so impactful in shaping meaningful lives. Brought to you by the Caulfield Grammarians Association, this podcast celebrates the shared values that unite us and inspire us to grow, connect, and lead with purpose. We hope today's conversation has sparked reflection on your own story and the legacy you're building. If you've enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an inspiring story. Share it with your friends, family, or anyone who could use a dose of inspiration. And be sure to join us next time for another powerful conversation with a guest who has a story worth telling. But until then, take care, stay curious, and continue making an impact. This is Heart Stories. See you next time.